What's up everyone, the Tech Piano Player Kid here, and in this video I'm going to be showing, or rather giving some networking tips on some Wi-Fi security tips that you should consider, or rather that you should do and make it more secure. So let's say you just got your Wi-Fi installed, or you've changed Wi-Fis, or you've had a Wi-Fi but and strange activities have been going on. Wi-Fi's been going slower, or you've, things have been visited that you have never visited before. And the slow part could just be because, maybe your ISP is doing other stuff. Internet service providers, maybe doing some updates or configurations. So let's say you're saying, wait a minute, this device I don't recognize on here. So most likely, so what people forget, or it's not they don't forget, it's they don't mean to not do it. They just, they don't mean to skip over all this. They just don't think about it. But what you should do is change the default password on the Wi-Fi. What most people would do, because some of these Wi-Fi names, they have either the router name will be like something like Netgear 7-2G. Well, right there, you have a Netgear 7. So now you're like, okay, I know this router. Now, if it's the internet service provider name, like Comcast, and then you have like 77-2G, well, now you can say, okay, well, I know that this person has Comcast. Let me see the weaknesses of this network and see how I can get in. This is where you want to make it more secure. So, number one, change the default password of the admin login. By default, the admin login is admin as the username, and the password is either password or admin or password 1 or 1234, or it can even be blank. And if you don't know, and if there's something outside your house, all you have to do is just look up online default password for this internet service provider or other searches. So changes to something that's very complicated, something that you know. Now, if you have kids, it doesn't make sense to give it to them. Now, if they're very good with technology and very good with networking stuff, and they let you know, or you let them know, hey, you want to do some of this networking security stuff and make some changes. Here's what I want you to do. Then cool. Like my parents, like I'm the I'm the networking person. Well, not the networking person, but I'm learning about networking stuff and security. And I was the one, talked to my dad, I talked to my mom and told them, hey, this is what we need to do to make it more secure and doing this. Okay, going back. So, number one, change the admin login. Keep the username as admin if you want to. I would, just to make it simple, but make the password something complicated. For this demonstration of this video, we'll use Cisco 101 ! Period. I'm sorry, Cisco Tech 101 ! Period. Well, instead of doing capital CISCO, capital TECH 101 ! Period, you could do something like capital C1 $sign, or I'm sorry, first of all, you can do just two ways you can do this. You can do capital C1SC0, capital T3CH 101 ! Period. A little more secure. The best secure password you can make out of this is capital C1 $sign C0, capital T3CH 101 ! Period. Or Or you could do capital C 1 $ C 0 space capital T 3 CH 101 exclamation mark period. You see, I exchanged some of these symbols, or the letters for symbols. $, you could exchange it for an S, you can exchange it for a $sign. The number 3, instead of an E, I used the number 3. The letter O, I used for a 0. The letter I used number 1, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty interesting how you can do that kind of stuff. Now, when it comes to the Wi-Fi password and the Wi-Fi name, change the Wi-Fi name to something that you know. Something that makes sense to you, but to other people, it absolutely makes no sense. Do not use family names. Do not. Because if you have a family name in there, then people will assume, okay, this is where, James Smith. I'm just gonna use James Smith words, or here's where the Smiths, the Smiths live, or here's where you know, the blacks live, or whatever. Once they find out your last name, they know exactly where you live or who that Wi-Fi belongs to. So keep it away from family names. So make it something like, I don't know, playground 10-2G for the 2 gigahertz and playground 10-5G for the 5 gigahertz. It doesn't have to make sense. Just make something up, but just, easy for you to memorize. You see, playground-2G and playground-5G, it makes no sense. But it's named for Wi-Fi and it has nothing related to you or your family. Password. Change the default password of that Wi-Fi name. The Wi-Fi password, it's generated, it could be something like, for instance, Cisco computers, like Mac computer 10, or I'm sorry, yeah, Mac computer 111, or Mac OS 123, just for instance. Make it something more complicated, like, excuse me, make it something more complicated, like, for instance, like, you could use phrases, or, like, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, or, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, could be a song name. And if you speak a different language, that makes it even more complicated if you put the passwords in a different language. Use also special symbols. Now, I would avoid spaces in this, but use special symbols like exclamation points or periods or numbers, uppercase, lowercase letters. Like if, like in Spanish or French or German, you have special symbols. Like in German, you have the umlauts and the scharfes S, or AKA the sharp S, or, and then in French, you have the acutes, or the um other symbols that I don't know of. Make it hard for people to crack. Another one you could do is change the default IP address. So usually by default, the IP address is 192.168.1.1 or 192.168.0.1. Either way, most private home networks is 192.168. something.1. That's the gateway. I would change that just because you want to make it more difficult. Now, sure, if someone managing the network, they could look at the more info and look at the IP address. Oh, okay, I can get in. And make the subnet mask obviously 255.255.255.0 as the /24 subnet. Very rarely you're going to need any more than that, like a /23. Now you're thinking, wait a minute, what about /25? The higher you go on this, the less devices you can connect. The lower you go, the more you can connect. Like like a school, like the school I have, I believe. Now the school I have, you know, they have multiple access points and stuff, but they have a /16. That's, let's see, that's probably around, that's close to about 10,000 devices, 5,000 devices. That's 255.255.0.0, I believe. And you're thinking, well, how do you know this? Well, some of this, once you learn it and once you figure it out, it sticks to you. But if you, for some very rare reason, you have to have at least over 200 and let me think here, because let's see, the network gateway and then minus the broadcast 254. I'm sorry, 253. No, I'm sorry. If you have more than 254 devices, or 254 devices, then you could do a /23, which gives you 512, I believe. But I've seen very, very, very rare places that have that much in houses. So I'd stick with the /24, 255.255.255.0. So you're thinking, okay, well, what IP address can I give in? Can I just give some random one? Nope. It has to be a private address. The private addresses are usually 172.16. Whatever. Another one is 10. Whatever. Or 192.168. Whatever. For the gateway, you want to have something like, gateway always begins with .1. 99.9% of the time is always .1. Now, if you have multiple access points, then it's going to be a little bit different. But there's always going to be a gateway at somewhere. So, let's make it simple. Let's say your default gateway is 192.168.1.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. You want to change that. Okay, cool. So you log into your router by entering that 192.168.1.1. It's going to ask you for your username and password. And then you log in, change it all, and you're good to go. Make sure it's saved, and you're good to go. Make sure you write this down somewhere, but no one else can find it. So the new one, let's say you changed it to 172.16.30.1. Okay, that works because you're beginning with a .1 and it's a private address. Now, taking it a step further, you can also hide the network. Now, a lot of people think, well, hiding your SSID, that's the network name, is not going to do anything. That's true, but it does make it harder. But there are ways of cracking it. I don't know how to do that, nor do I want to know how to do that, because it's not that I don't want to know. I mean, okay, let me pause you for a second. When people hear the word hacker, most people automatically think, okay, illegal, bad people. No, not necessarily. There's different kinds of hackers. There's 3 kinds, as far as I know. There's whitehead hackers, grayhead hackers, and blackhead hackers. The black ones, they're the bad ones. They mean harm. They will go into your network and try to do stuff, and all that kind of stuff. The great ones are the ones that they don't mean harm, but they get into your network and they may or may not call you. But I would think usually they would call you. If they call you, they may or not give your name and just tell you, hey, I just want to let you know that I was able to get into the back door of your network. There is a security breach that I was able to get in. Okay. Then there's the whitehead hackers. Those are the ones that say, hey, I'm going to get into your and try and get into your network and make sure that it's secure and there's no breach or no backdoor. Meaning the backdoor, meaning there's no like another way to get in. So if you tell them, hey, I want to see and try and get into your network and see if there's any security risks or security breaches or whatever that need to be fixed. Okay, fine. If that's fine. If you don't mean harm and you let them know ahead of time what you're doing, that's what I heard. You're good to go. But if you do it without permission and you go in there and you mean harm, yeah, don't want to do that. Okay, going back. So hiding your SSID, you can do that. But again, there probably are ways, and most likely there are ways to discover the SSID. The most important thing is to make sure you have WPA2 security. Now, most people say WPA2 AES. Most routers that I've seen, they don't have it. But whatever it is, make sure it's WPA2 security. Do not do WPA or WPA/WPA2 or WEP or none. Make it WPA2, period. Because WPA/WPA2 opens both WPA and WPA2. WPA is pretty weak. Make it WPA2. Because WEP and WPA can be hacked pretty easily. I don't know how, but I know it can be hacked. So make it WPA2. Unless your router supports WPA3, go ahead and do WPA3. But I don't think WPA3 is available yet. Not that I know of. Okay. So you can hide your network if you wish, but make sure it's secured with a strong password and a zip to WPA2 connection. And the SSID has been changed, makes it as memorable. So you can hide the network. You can also do MAC filtering. Now, what this does is you can say, okay, I want only these devices to be able to connect to the network because I granted them access. Oops. So how does this work? Well, you get the MAC address from the device, like an iPhone or Android or Mac or PC, any device, and you get the MAC address. You write it down, you make sure MAC filtering is turned on, you plug in the address, and you add the address in the Wi-Fi, and you save it. Make sure you name device if you can. And you write all these devices, these addresses down on a piece of paper because if someone moves out or whatever, then you can remove that if they never need access again. Because if they guess the password and their device is not trusted, so to speak, they can't access the network because the MAC address has not been added and it can't be accessed. So if you hide the network, you can make a guest network. Now, before you do this, do not make the same network name and put guest in parentheses because people can assume, oh, this is a guest network and that's the name of the network. Make it something like the default, because if you make it the default name of you could make it the name that was defaulted with the other network. So let's say the default name was Comcast 77-2G and Comcast 77-5G, you can make it out in the guest network without putting guest on it and make the password something, simple but hard to crack once again. But make it a little bit less simpler. And there, maybe you could use it, not as complicated. And if you have changed the IP address on the gateway, so to speak, on your hidden network, the regular IP address on the guest network is going to be different. So you can do that. Again, if the guest network is protected, WPA2 is your best bet for security. Now, if you want to do as far as doing a radius server like schools have, where you have a username and password, you can do so, but I believe you have to pay for it, and also I don't know how to do this. You could also, if you want to, let's set your router to say, okay, I want the router to be on from, let's say, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and have it turned off, or rather in sleep mode to not show up at all, from 10 p.m. all the way up to 6:59, or rather 7 a.m. You can do that too. I don't know if all routers can do that, but that is an option too. So there's just a few networking tips to make your Wi-Fi more secure. There are probably a lot more that you can do, but those are just a few there. If you guys have any more suggestions on how to make your Wi-Fi more secure, you can put them in the comments down below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. Follow me on Twitter, tech_piano. And if you have any other further questions, you can also email them to thetechpianoplayerkid@gmail.com, and there I can gladly answer any of your questions that you have. And with that in mind, I will see you all later in the next video. God bless and peace. The Tech Piano Player Kid is out.
Remember to subscribe to my channel for more videos. Follow my Twitter, which is linked to my channel. For more questions, email me at thetechpianoplayerkid@gmail.com.